Did you see that picture Miss Dorma Magruder sent us?
Yeah, that, that was awesome. I remember exactly the day too.
Do you?
Yeah,
I was I was trying to figure that out. Like what?
we
She
were
talking about you never know when the camera is on you.
the day because the day was we were gathering all these people. A lot of them were prosperous. Some of them were the people from Rock, the food,
Ah, okay,
and we
okay.
were telling them that they should partner with um uh, the guy who does the Rise Detroit, Luther Keith.
Oh, Luther Keith. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, but we're actually recording, so
All right, all right. It's good to see you.
good to see you too.
Right, all right. Is that the home office?
You know what? I collapsed my home office about 5 years ago because you
Oh,
gave me an office to start in. So now I have to reconfigure a home office.
okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I
Cool.
like your home office. I love
Oh
yours.
yeah, man. It's in the basement. It's under construction, but we're gonna be all right.
I understand. I get it.
All
So
right.
I thought that we would spend a few minutes talking about some. This is real time, right? Some real realities for some of the small businesses. Um,
Yes.
and what prompted me to want to reach out to you, Lawrence, was that I looked at a few early morning shows, and they brought on what they consider experts to talk about um, things that you should do in preparation as as a small business going through this COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
more than one person indicated that sell everything, liquidate everything, hold on, and hoard cash.
Mm.
And I guess in some realities, and maybe multimillionaires or billionaires probably um, that because they were representative of that population, maybe that's what they thought was necessary. But I thought for me, I think what we need to do is figure out a strategy to how to stay alive, right?
Yes. It's a survival mode.
It's survival
Absolutely.
mode, but so we recognize that the federal government is trying to come to our aid. The state of Michigan is trying to come to our aid. You got the county coming to our aid. You got the city coming to our aid. You got a plethora of philanthropy um, specialists coming and offering some support.
Yeah.
Even private offer is planning to offer some type of a relief. I'm thinking at this point we should be taking advantage. And I wanted to hear from the person who does financial assessments. How do we
Mhm.
triage our position? What should we do first and foremost?
Well, in my opinion, and I've been talking about this for the last week or so, and it's just very timely. So, first thing that you really want to do is to take a look at the things that you own and look at what assets are producing income and what assets might be no longer producing income.
Okay.
And that works well for businesses like manufacturing and retail.
Right.
But if you're in a service-based business, your main asset is your intellectual property.
Exactly.
So how are you using that? How are you reaching the people that you need to reach? And can you get them to pay for the intellectual property that you have? So, like you said earlier, we don't really have the option of just liquidating and closing, but that is a real reality for some businesses and something that they should look at if they do not feel that they're reaching their customer base or that they can reach their customer base, or worse yet, their customer base is so affected by this virus that they may no longer be a viable customer base.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to really evaluate the things that you're doing from a marketing standpoint and from an operational standpoint. This is the time to really take a look at some things, even from the financial standpoint. Again, what assets do we have? What things can we possibly sell? There may be some assets that are no longer producing income. And again, I'm going to go back to the service based business.
Mm-hmm.
There are computers that I have personally that I need to wipe the information off of and either give away, which I could get a charitable contribution from if I give it to the right folks,
Okay.
or possibly sell. Now, might get me a couple $100, but in this environment, every single penny is important. I always tell the
Got it.
story about when I was managing branches. The folks that called me were always the ones that, when we made a change in our banking process,
Yeah.
the folks with the most money were the ones that called me, and they were the ones that could probably absorb the change than the folks that didn't have a lot of money. So what I'm saying to everybody is take a look at what you have, evaluate it very, very closely, and then start to project out, you know, 90 days, 120 days, and give yourself a couple of scenarios. What happens if this virus goes on until the end of June?
Right.
How do I survive? How do I make it? Do I shut down during that time to cut down on overhead and expenses?
Yeah, yeah.
Other questions: have I called my landlord? Have I called my banks and people that I owe money to find out what programs or services they may be willing to work with you on? I just heard today that if you have a loan with some of the micro lenders, there is a philanthropic organization that's going to pay your bill for 6 months.
Yeah, yeah.
That's huge.
That's huge.
That's huge. But that doesn't mean that, oh, instead of me, if I got the money to make that payment, now I'm going to go over here and buy these luxury items. I'm holding on to my cash and making sure that I can make it if there was some other, if there's a longer term situation to this virus.
Would you say that from a triage position, you probably have to come up with a basic outline of, you know, step A, step B, step C, step, but every business for the most part is very uniquely different and they may need different things. Like I would love to do a triage maybe on my business. I just filled out the federal relief, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've already made it looks like 3 modifications since the first time I looked at the entire delivery, right? I looked at it the day they actually released it. I
Yep.
looked at it the very next week, and now as of today, it looks like something altogether different.
Yes, you know, they're flying the plane as they're building it, but that's okay, because the other part of that is there's some very dedicated civil servants that have been waiting for an opportunity. They probably are not happy that it's this kind of opportunity, but they've been waiting for an opportunity to really show their mantle and how strong they can be and how they can contribute. So just know that there's some people on the other side of that application that are really trying to make this work, and they're working hard on it. So we appreciate them. But you're right, they have actually streamlined that application from when it first came out.
Yeah, I saw it, all the attachments and this schedule and this and this. And
Yes.
I'm assembling all the information, but I have people like you, you know, as a direct go-to. So I knew that there were going to be evolutions of products coming to the, and all I had to do was sit back and assess. But
Mhm.
some of us are in critical mass and don't have that as an option, right?
Right. Mhm.
We have to go and jump into the deep end. And I tracked about 24 calls in the last week and a half
Mhm.
from who I consider alternative funders.
Mm-hmm.
People
Mm-hmm.
who can get you some money right now.
Yes. Yes.
Would you recommend people go that route, or should they be studious and disciplined and go through the portals that we recognize, maybe through the county, the city, the state, the federal government? Should survival? I understand is key.
Well, that's true.
That's
You
the
do
triage
have to
thing,
be
right?
careful. You do have to be careful, because there are some scammers out here that's promising things that they cannot deliver. So do your homework at all costs. But I also say explore every single opportunity. Right now, we can't necessarily afford to be, cherry picking.
Yeah, yeah.
We, there are grants out there. Apply for them. If they apply to your particular industry, find out about it. Make sure it's legit. But then once you do, you know, apply. Find out what's available. There's nothing wrong at this point in time with having too much cash, even if some of that cash is debt.
Ooh.
Now, I do want to say something about the emergency disaster loan, emergency economic injury disaster loan. I'll try to make sure I
Yeah, yeah.
remember these names. There's a lot of them out there. But think about this for a minute. They are giving 11 months with no payments. Now, let's say this thing lasts until June.
Yeah.
Let's say you get your money, let's use $10,000 for an example. You get $10,000 at the beginning of May.
Yeah.
All right, let's say this thing goes till June and you have to operate in a lower than standard mode.
Yeah.
You still have 9 more months to increase your income, to get some of your income back, but it's how
Yeah.
you pay that capital that's going to matter.
Yeah.
So things like payroll, if you have to keep people on your payroll or provide some assistance for them, the state has, though, relaxed some of the unemployment rules. You know, even if I'm a business owner and I've not paid into that system, I would apply for that.
Wow.
So you,
When you say you would apply for that if you're not paid into it, meaning
I
not.
would, I would normally, in order to qualify for unemployment benefits, as a business owner, you would have had to have paid into unemployment insurance through the state. They have relaxed some of those rules. So if that's something that you think might be available, there's nothing wrong with trying to get that particular that benefit. If it gives you $1,200 a month or some other amount, God bless you, because that can help pay for some groceries. It can help pay for some other things. But apply. Don't worry about being turned down at this point. You cannot be choosy. So look at all the things the state's doing, the cities doing.
That's food for thought, because I truly hadn't considered that even for my own self. You know, I'm like, no, I'm sitting all right. I'm doing okay. But
No, apply. And the other thing is that they have actually relaxed some of the payroll tax laws, where the most people's payroll taxes are due April 15th. That has been relaxed. So, and then there's the PPP loan that's coming from the federal government, the payroll protection plan.
yeah.
0.05% interest. If you use it for payroll, it is a forgivable loan. And they have said that loan can, now I would challenge this to happen, but they say that loan can be turned around in like 48 to 72 hours. So that is another tremendous benefit.
What about freelance and gig employees? Can they apply for that? Is that part of that?
I think there's some limits on that, but again, make them make a decision. This is my mantra during this thing. I don't know if I can win or not, but I'm sure going to get in the game and make them. If I'm going to the hole, and if Wilt Chamberlain or Kareem Jabbar is there, he's gonna have to knock the ball down. I'm gonna be like Isaiah Thomas. I'm going even in. Anyway. I'm going for it all. I'm not holding nothing back right now, because you just don't know. We just don't know. The SBA has done some things with these current loans that I would haven't been worked with them, being an underwriter for the 504 loan. There was so many stringent requirements that it even made me not want to even send loans to them. But they have relaxed a whole lot of things.
I saw the 7A.
That's a 7A program, same thing. They've relaxed a lot of things. And in fact, you got to know that there are several variations to the 7A. Your Community Express loan is a 7A loan. The loan that TCF Bank and Wayne County is doing, that's a 7A loan. So the SBA is starting to really expand their offerings. And again, I really don't know for sure how much they've relaxed things, because they are still going to check your credit report. Mm-hmm. And they're going to look at some things. But the emergency disaster loan, if you're looking for under 25,000, there's no collateral, no personal guarantee. Yeah. And it's the same thing with that payroll protection plan. I have to say that fast 3 times, but with that payroll protection plan, they don't look for any guarantees on that. There's no personal guarantee. So besides calling all of your lenders, all of the people you owe money to, look at these loans that are out there, and don't be worried or afraid at this particular point about overextending yourself with debt. I mean, normally
That's my greatest concern, Lawrence. That's my greatest concern.
you
Like,
don't know how much it took me to say that because you know I'm debt averse. I'm a cash flow guy, but
okay,
right now is how you deploy that money. Let me give
right,
you an example. Let's say you get 25,000 from the feds, and then you get a grant of 10,000 from the city or Wayne County.
yeah,
All right, that's 35,000. You don't have to pay that 25,000 back for 11 months.
hmm,
You can take both of those sums of money and start to buoy your operations. But a lot of this is gets back to knowing what your financial position is, understanding how to. I hate to sound like a broken record, but how do you deploy those funds?
right.
Is it marketing? In this day and age, marketing now is online. It doesn't cost as much as it used to. People used
Is it not better to buy down some of your already existing debt because some of it, most of it is at higher interest? Wouldn't it be better? I mean,
to, you know, and I understand that, but at this point in time, I would not do that.
okay,
I would communicate with them, and at most, I'd make a monthly payment. If they tell you, "Hey, Laura, you know, we love you and you've been a great client, but we don't have anything," I would only use enough of that money to make a monthly payment.
to just service whatever the minimum obligation is.
Absolutely, just to keep your credit strong. Because on the other side of this, when we come out of this, all of that's still going to be important. You got to remember when there's an emergency, all hands on deck, everybody's throwing the water out the boat. But then once the boat gets to shore, they're like, oh, by the way, they don't forget. They don't forget. So I would not pay off loans or restructure debt that way right now. Now, if I can get some of my interest rates down using the same entity,
Instrument. Okay.
right? Then yeah, I might do that because now I've shown that I have a good payment history and I've shown that I'm qualified for it. So maybe I restructure it that way. But I would rarely, I won't ever say never, but I would rarely use grant money to pay down debt. I might pay a monthly payment, but not paying it down.
Don't exhaust it paying up your debt. Let
No,
me
because you really don't know what's coming.
let me ask you this question. So what if they're all asking for your last year's tax return or any tax return, and what happens when you show that you made a profit? And what happens when they ask you, okay, so how much have you lost? Well, we've been 30 days into this thing. What if, my traditional receivables are already 35 days? How do I justify the request for what could be a disaster in my business?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And you know me, my answer is always just be honest.
Hmm.
Give them the clearest picture you can, because if they have to verify it, they might ask for bank statements to verify it. They may ask for items or documentation to verify it. And if you've told the truth, there's nothing that you have to worry about. The thing is, you do not want to mislead lenders, or say you don't know, or even worse, yes. So do the best you can in terms of helping them to understand. And then there's also a portion of that disaster loan where you can explain your situation. Because if you notice, there's no place to put how much you're requesting.
Yeah,
They will determine
they seem to be making the determination. Yes.
how much you need. But if you in the narrative part say, look, my burn rate is 5,000 a month. I burn up 5,000 in cash every month just with payroll and inventory and things of that nature. You put that in there, that's going to help them to make the analysis, because you got to remember they're getting hundreds, even thousands of these requests, and they're not going to take the time to try to figure out where somebody fits.
Right.
And the way most government programs work, there's probably a standard amount. This person qualifies for the standard amount. Don't go any further. Here you go. Here's your 10,000.
Close it. Keep it.
If they see something in that narrative that requires something additional, they might look at it. It might take them a little longer to make a decision, but they're going to look at it a little closer.
as we wrap up, Lawrence, what do you think people should start looking at? Today is April 1st. A lot, like you already said, call your landlords, call your other creditors, and find out if you can make arrangements, do some things to be strategic without causing yourself a lot of harm or upset.
Mhm.
When does a person consider, I can't get out of this? I'm not going to be saved. There is no amount of money that's going to save me if I can't get everything I need.
Mhm.
What's the next step for that individual, and what should we do moving forward?
Ooh, that's a tough question. Before I answer that, I'm gonna add one more thing. Call them people that owe you money. Thank you very much. Call them folks that owe you some money. All right, but you got to start to take a hard look. This is where having a business plan. I know people say, "Oh, that's you know, that's kind of like looking into a crystal ball." But go back and look at your business plan. Did you execute it? Did you deviate from it? What's your plan going forward? If you feel like you just can't get out of it, then again, go back to what you own. What can you sell? What can you liquidate? If you find that there's not much you can sell or liquidate, it might be good to have a quiet period in your business. And
Hibernate for a little bit. Hibernate.
even if you get the money, the grant money and things of that nature, hold on to it the best you can. You got to pull, everybody's got to live. I'm not sitting here being ignorant of the fact that, some people have, high house notes, car notes, etc. But you got to even examine that. There are things that when I bought it, I thought I needed it. My wife teases me. I had to have this Tai Chi videotape, and I might have watched it 2 times. And it's
I got
simple.
that one too.
That might be a simple example, but be honest, there are things that we have in our business that we thought we needed, that we thought we had to have, and we're finding out that they are not what we thought they were. Start to possibly liquidate some of those things and then evaluate your market. This is a good time to really get into you and yourself and what you're doing for other people and make sure that it makes sense. Um, it might not. It might be such a change that it's time to move to something different, but at least give it a good analysis. Sit down and really look at who are you selling your
And maybe
product.
maybe when you're in the thick of it, it's difficult for you to have a clear vision and to assess yourself properly. How do they get a hold of you if they need some help? Are you available to help?
Absolutely. They can call me at 734 If I don't answer, it's probably better to text me. You can also email me at emergebiz1@gmail.com. I do have another business email address, but that's the best one to reach me. To reach out to people like Laura Sigmund on the other end. I mean, she is very knowledgeable, especially in operations and economic gardening, things of that nature. Use all of the resources that are available to you through this tough time. This is not the time for basically giving up, but you got to also keep your faith strong. But you got to remember that God is got the power and the control, but He is not just boosting up folks that are not doing what they're supposed to do. I guess that's the best way for me to put it.
I thank you, LJ, as always. Until next week, I'm going to post this feed, and I thank you again for talking us off the ledge.
Any problem? No problem. I'm sorry, no problem. I'm like saying any problem, we're going to work them out. We're going to work out all and any problems. We are strong. Our ancestors made it through, 1918. That's why we're still here. We owe it to them to stay strong and make it.
Excellent. Thank you,
All right.
LJ. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank
All right,
you.
have a good one.
Bye-bye.